Is the iPhone 16 Pro Max really that much better than the 15 Pro Max? Well, I'm gonna be brutally honest. I think this is one of the worst iPhone launches ever. I do these 1 week later comparisons every year and I always find some very interesting improvements, but this year it's different. The iPhone event left me kinda disappointed, and after using this new one for a week, I can't help but still feel that way. Now that doesn't mean that there aren't some improvements, there are, but things that Apple focused on at the event, well, they're not great. And I wanna start out with the new camera control because this is something that I was very excited about. Now it is designed to be used horizontally, and when you're using it that way, it's nice to have that shutter button, but if you're holding your iPhone vertically, I feel like it's a little too low, kind of uncomfortable. And Apple made a huge deal about all the settings that you could change and how cool it is, but in the real world, it is clunky and honestly kind of stupid. It doesn't feel very intuitive, and most of the settings that you can go and adjust, it's just so much quicker to use the on-screen controls. I've been forcing myself to use it so I can kind of get used to it, but it's not really that helpful. On Androids, for example, you could double click on the power button and it'll launch the camera control, which is actually a little bit faster, honestly. The only time it really feels like it's worth it is if you're taking horizontal group selfies and that button is just in the right placement. But you also have to be careful when you press it not to shake your phone because you can get a bunch of blurry selfies. Now, if you guys got an iPhone 16, let me know how you like it. Is it just me that thinks it's kind of gimmicky? Now, I think Apple is really wanting this button for the Apple Intelligence where you can snap a picture, it'll tell you what it is in that mode. But of course, that is not out yet. And also the whole focus control, which seems cool, intuitive, that's not out there either. And honestly, I don't think we've ever had a year where so much software isn't available at the launch. Now, I understand that this is difficult. I've tested some of the things in beta, but this is their biggest advertising push ever, and anybody that's normal buying a phone gets none of that. Now, if you haven't bought a case yet, our sponsor TORRAS has got you covered with their brand new O-Stand Series 360 spin case, now in a beautiful new dune color, conveniently packing the functions of a case, a kickstand, a ring grip, and MagSafe all built into a case that is slim, premium, and protective, while feeling super smooth in your hand while having great drop protection. TORRAS put a lot of effort into the details like raising the edge for extra protection, as well as the refined texture and MagSafe compatible O-stand that doubles as a stand and a ring grip. And the best part of the stand is that the angle of adjustability is unlimited, so you can watch movies or scroll through TikTok. They also got the Glasgow X screen protectors with the easiest two-step setup. Simply snap and pull and you're protected with 12-foot military protection and scratch resistance. They also released this genius little 40-watt FlexLine charger, which not only has a retractable design with a built-in USB-C cable, but it also comes with a Type-C port, so you could charge another device as well. And you can order the new O-Stand, Glasgow X screen protector, and the charging brick using the link in the video description and the pinned comment below. Now, another thing that I was excited for was the rumored 45-watt charging, and it made sense that that would be real because Apple gave us 25-watt MagSafe, but unfortunately, in all my testing, I still saw the same 29-watt peak with about 27-28 watts for charging. So you still get about 50% in 30 minutes, and it takes about an hour and a half to charge to full. Now, that is not horrendous, but now with the new 25-watt MagSafe charging, it's basically as fast as wired charging, which is pretty cool. But I have some more complaints, and I don't want to be somebody negative, but why in the world would they give us 25-watt charging, but not release any other device or work with any other manufacturer, for example Belkin, to release a 3-in-1 that has that faster charging? Literally, it's only this puck that can do that. Now, it is positive and nice that it can charge fast wirelessly, and I wanted to put this into my car, but unfortunately, because they slightly changed the design, it doesn't work with all these holders that were made for the previous version, because this is slightly smaller and thinner, so there's not much options just other than this on the market, which kind of sucks. And with that, with the whole launch, why not give us a new MagSafe power pack with the faster charging, or at least a USB Type-C port, just some new accessories? I don't get it. Even the wallet is still using their fine woven material, even though they discontinued it on the case side. Seems like Apple just didn't put in much effort at all with this launch. Now, thankfully, you might not have to charge as often. And this probably is the biggest plus with the new Pro phones because the battery life is really good. Now, the first few days, I actually was a little bit disappointed, but I think maybe all the photos are being analyzed in the background for the better search. But now it is absolutely better, probably 1 to 2 more hours of screen on time. Now, of course, everybody's use case is different. And I have so many background tasks. I have so many smart devices that use my location, so I get more drain. But yesterday I got up before 8 a.m. and it was 1 a.m. at night. I was still up and I still had 10% battery life remaining. So that is killer. So because of the new chip and the upgrades and the larger battery, if you care about battery life, this thing is a win. And if you are not a heavy power user, you might actually get 2 days out of this phone. Now, because of that, I think this year I might actually go for the Pro phone instead of the Pro Max because the screen's a little bit bigger, the battery life is way better now, and we get that 5x lens on the smaller one. Now, I want to talk about the new chips as well because a reason we get the better battery life is the new A18 Pro chip that is in here. Now, one thing I did notice is that my phone is not getting as hot as it did before throughout the day. And in our thermal testing, when we talk about performance and gaming, the difference was noticeable. Now, unfortunately, I still had screen dimming. I was outside in the sun. It was about an 86°F day, and my screen dimmed, then it dimmed again, and it dimmed again, and it got down to roughly 800 nits. Now, thankfully, even though it dims, doesn't dim as much as the 15 Pro Max in the summer, so that is nice, and it cools down quicker like we saw in our testing. So that's a positive, but it still sucks that we have to deal with that. Now, I'm always very curious about cellular speeds and reception because I want the best that I can get. And we had some weird testing in our first comparison where the 15 Pro Max was actually beating out the new 16. Now, I've actually had some weirdness. I've had buffering while I'm watching videos on the go, which I wasn't getting with the 15 Pro Max. But then in some other tests, I would actually get faster speed. So overall, yes, it is faster, but it seems like sometimes it just tries to save battery and you get slower speed. So maybe that's why we're also getting better battery. And interestingly, on the inside, when we did our teardown, we're not seeing the Snapdragon X75 modem. We're seeing a X71, a modified version. So I don't really know what is going on with that. We also have Wi-Fi 7 on here. And unfortunately, I'm not getting any better reception at my house, which was a bit of a disappointment. Now, it's time to talk about the cameras. And I want to mention that every year I upgrade my wife's phone just because of the camera. She takes most of our family photos, so I want that for our life. We save everything, but this year she couldn't even tell a difference. So I think it was a bit of a waste of money. Now, one nice benefit that we actually noticed is that there is less glare shooting into the sun. So that right there is nice. And I think the biggest upgrade that Apple put in was shooting 4K 120 frames per second. I mean, they made a huge deal about this, and that's due to the new sensor that has faster readout. So if you like recording slow motion, well, as long as you're in good lighting, you will see a difference in quality. So that is nice. But other than that, the photo quality isn't really much better on that main sensor. Now, what is better quality is the 48 megapixel ultra wide. And I was so excited for this new ultra wide because that is the weakest point of the 15 Pro Max in the older phones. It constantly looks worse, especially switching from 1X to the ultra wide in video mode. You see how much noise you get, how much less detail you get. And unfortunately for video, well, you still get that. It's still noticeably worse. The 48 megapixel is more detailed, but it's not a massive difference because a lot of times you can just stack photos with the computational part. So even though it is improved and it is actually better than its competition in our camera comparison, it's not as big of a difference as I honestly had hoped. The other interesting thing is that the 16s still use Smart HDR5. Apple used to upgrade their algorithms every year, and we saw a noticeable improvement. This year, that did not change. And of course, the 5x lens is still the same with the selfie camera. And now we're starting to see that the competition's zoom cameras are quite a bit better. So that really needs to be pushed up to 48 megapixel. The selfie cam also needs to be improved. It seems like this year, they didn't really try very hard in terms of cameras, just adding that slow motion because of the sensor. So honestly, I am a bit disappointed. And this year, I actually had multiple times where I picked up my old phone and I didn't realize, because it's backed up, that it's the old one. I mean, yes, the bezels are thinner. Okay, that is a little bit nice, but you get used to that after a day or so. The screen's slightly bigger, also not a huge difference. Overall, this is probably the worst upgrade year to year that we've seen in a long time, as long as I can remember. And if you're somebody that upgrades every year, even me, I upgrade every year, we use it for a channel, I feel disappointed, almost kind of like I got ripped off a little bit. Now, of course, if you're using the smaller ones, okay, your screen got bigger, that's noticeable on the smaller phone. And of course, you have the 5x lens finally, that is great, and the battery life is better. I think that's a better upgrade. And even for the regular 16s, these got a big jump in performance. The action button, I mean, I think the regular 16s are a big upgrade this year, but as far as the 15 Pro Max, it really is the worst upgrade. So unless you really need battery life or you have a much older phone, I would say wait for next year. This is a disappointing upgrade, the smallest real world difference we've seen in a long time. So if there was ever an S phone with these latest phones, this really is it. You guys let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. Click that button above to subscribe. Check out one of those videos right over there. This has been Max, and I'll see you in the next one.